Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Corey Thompson from Dice Tower Now, Dice Tower Dish, and Dice Tower News.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 290. And we're recording this on September 15th, 2023. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and the peaceful bliss of actually being home for a full 2 weeks between trips. First 2 weeks straight at home all summer. Sadly, this will be broken up soon as I travel to Las Vegas to be part of the World Series of Board Gaming, where I will see Tom Vassell. Corey, your travels are actually more epic than mine.
I was going to say 2 weeks, that's luxury. I am in Europe for more than a month. So I've already spent a week in Iceland where I flew a helicopter to the top of a live volcano and played a board game on a volcano.
So you actually you flew the helicopter.
I flew it myself.
No,
absolutely.
No. Okay.
Our cameraman, Brian Spillane, this is all for Above Board. So absolutely. Yep. It'll come on YouTube, Above Board TV. Keep an eye out for it. Our cameraman, Brian Spillane, was literally hanging out of an open door on the side of the helicopter, strapped in with just straps, hanging his camera out the side.
Over the active volcano.
Where we had a board game table set up and we were playing Phil Walker Harding's Oh No Volcano. What? Then the next day, we took snowmobiles on top of a glacier and played Ice Cool in the middle of nowhere.
Oh my God.
And the day after that, we went to Rakeholt and played the board game Rakeholt inside of a greenhouse restaurant. It was amazing. And then I flew to Helsinki, Finland, where my hosts immediately grabbed me and within an hour had me buck naked in a sauna, talking business and drinking.
I'm not sure if I should question you on being naked in the hot tub.
You can't make this. Not a hot tub, in a sauna.
In a sauna.
Made out of cedar.
Oh, right. Okay. So
rocks.
In those things, you get naked with a towel on. I hope, for God's sakes, you had a towel on your lap. Oh,
not in Finland. And you alternate. When you get too hot, you just walk outside. Jewels and all.
I cannot get this thought out of my head. You are crazy.
I've traveled from Finland, and now I'm in Vienna. And I'm hanging out with my good friend Julian Steindorfer, who owns One More Time Games, which is the publisher that did Challengers, that won the Spiel. So I got to, fondle and play with the Spiel des Jahres award, which was really fun. And we played a bunch of games. I've been marching all around Vienna, looking at incredible palaces and museums and eating the best ice cream I've had. So that's how my week's gone. What have you done?
How about me? Well, we're going to get to my epic European trip in a moment. But before that, as I've been mentioning recently, especially, a new episode of The Quad dropped last week. And the co-host on that one was Corey Thompson. So
Corey's the worst. I wouldn't watch it. He's terrible.
Everybody, if you haven't seen The Quad yet, you can at least see Corey on The Quad episode 5, which you can get linked directly from the front page of Board Game Geek, or you go to the YouTube channel for Board Game Geek and watch it. And it's new. We're getting some pretty good clicks on the show. We're already over 1,000 clicks an episode, and hopefully more and more to come as people hear about it. But please check it out. It's a fun romp where we argue about one topic in gaming and try to make it, make our game the best in that category. I think it works pretty well. So check it out.
More clicks on your video.
Okay, go ahead.
If you played board games 50 feet underwater on a shipwreck with sharks, which I did the week before Iceland.
I wouldn't want to waste all my money doing such a thing, Corey. But instead, I will do it for free and have a really good show with people on Board Game Geek. But no,
There
your
you
stuff
go.
is absolutely amazing. Continuing in this thread and talking about my trips,
Sorry.
just got back. I just got back from the Dice Tower retreat in Miami, and we already talked about the first 2 days of gaming I did, but the days 3 to 6 were even more amazing. I did 2 games of my number one game for 2023, which is Thunder Road Vendetta. Absolutely
Nice.
pleases every time. 2 games of one of my favorite games of all time, Betrayal at House on the Hill, broken as all heck, especially in the first edition, less so in now its third edition. Great time always. And
Underground lake on the roof.
yes, that was the broken part, absolutely, in the first edition. One of the games I played was with the new Blood Moon expansion, not new, but a year old, with Camilla from the Dice Tower, which was wonderful. And I played like 6-player games every time, so it was really, really wonderful to play big games of Betrayal. Mansions of Madness 2E. I had never played that before, which really is wonderful and thematic and tells a story, and really is wonderful because it uses an app to do everything. And so you almost don't need to read all those rules. So I'm so happy that I finally played it. And now I can play this game and rely on the app to take care of all the nonsense that, apps can do for you. That was great. Then I played a game called Killing Woodstock, which is a murder mystery game. So it's like those things where everyone gets a booklet and a roll, and one of us 8 people are the murderer in this thing. And in this game, there was a bunch of hippies at a commune, and I was playing a character that looked like, because of the picture that was on my book, John Lennon. And I knew about this beforehand. So I went out and I bought a New York City t-shirt, and I did my hair as best I could to look like John Lennon. And of course, I had round glasses on. And best of all, one of my personal goals in this thing was that I had to write and sing a song, or write and perform a song on the spot sometime during the whole thing. And I did. A cappella, and I did it to Imagine, so I didn't have to write the music, of course, but I sang the song to Imagine about the events of the night. It was so much fun, and most of us figured out who the murderer was, but not everybody, because it leaves it very vague for everybody. It was great. I love all of these very thematic games, so that is my jam. And the last thing is that I played a new hotness game called 3 Ring Circus. Have you heard or played this?
Yeah. I've heard about it. I haven't played it yet. It looks pretty cool.
Very interesting, mid-heavy Euro, where you have a circus kind of competing against Barnum and Bailey's circus, but not really. You're competing against everybody else. Barnum and Bailey is traveling around to all of the cities. It's the timer of the game, and you're trying to put on shows, collect money, put on shows, and be the best of the other circuses. Really, really interesting. Pretty brain-burny, but pretty cool once you grok everything. So Dice Tower Retreat, great socializing. I really enjoyed this kind of small retreat. Hopefully you'll come back next year, Corey. I've already signed up for the new one. About 250 people for that. And I'm not going to, and I already mentioned the World Series of Board Gaming, where I'm going basically in a week and a half into Las Vegas. I'm there. Gonna have such a great time there, crown the new world champion of board gaming, who wins $25,000. And then I get to go on after one day at home, do laundry, get on a plane, my 30-night trip to Europe, which we'll talk about more when that starts. So, and we're
not crossing over at all, except maybe at Essen.
We're crossing over only at Essen, right? For those 5 nights that I'll be there. And I think you travel home from there, right? But we'll see you there. We'll hang out. We'll get to go to some parties like we did last year and things like that.
Yeah.
One more thing I got to give a shout out to my good buddy, Uli Blenneman, who's the president and owner of Spielworks. He's having his 4th annual Conworks online convention, which is pre-Spiel in Essen. Funny thing is, he's doing this on the day that I'm leaving for Europe. So I will be on live from some place in the airport in Florida. And what he does, he asks a bunch of industry people to come on and to talk about a given topic. The topic that I'm going to be talking about was my first spiel, which was in 2010. So I want to give everybody the info to come watch this. Ignacy is going to be on this. Cole and Drew Worley from Leader Games is going to be on it. It's September 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch. Let me give you the Twitch channel. I am personally going to be on at 12 noon Eastern time if you want to see me, but come for any or all of this. His Twitch channel is twitch.tv/Spielworks with 2 X's. Spiel, WORXX.
I'm actually going to be going to Uli's house next week.
That is awesome. Oh, that's great. Please send him my regards. And obviously then from there, almost you'll be going over to Essen, or you have more after that?
Oh, there's more.
Oh, wow. Okay, we'll talk more when more happens.
Yeah, I'm all over the place.
Oh, you're doing some amazing trip that, hopefully I'll be imitating.
I'm not a smart person. I go everywhere.
Let's get now over to the event deck. So we have some, bad news, I guess, in the game industry that we have to start with.
This floored me.
I was very shocked about this too. And this is about HABA, which is one of the, I'm going to say, best kids game publishers in the world. Maybe the best, if not one of the best for kids games. And they have declared bankruptcy of sorts, but more about it's a reorg that they're doing. Let me read a little bit of this. Franconian toy manufacturer HABA had already cut jobs in the summer in order to save costs. However, HABA wants to make a new start in self-administration. The company now wants to work on putting the company on a solid financial footing in the long term. That's a quote. According to HABA Managing Director Mario Wilhelm, the application is the only way to regain its former strength. It employs around 2,000 employees at its site in Upper Franconia. Where is that exactly, Corey? I'm sure you know. It wants to concentrate
in Germany. Yeah.
In Germany. It wants to concentrate exclusively on toys and furniture for children. So
that's one of the big things. Most people don't realize, but HABA is an enormous company, and board games are a small part of it. They're kind of IKEA level almost of doing furniture and all sorts of other stuff.
But sadly, what's going on here is that specifically that part of their business, the making of games for children, is going away. And that's the sad part from our perspective. I guess the games just didn't make money, but the toys, specifically toys, and the furniture that they do for children is doing well. That's what I'm getting out of this. Did you get any other information out of their statement?
Well, I suspect the reorganization will be the formation of new companies. I betcha that the back library of games and new children's games in those iconic yellow boxes, I think they're going to split off another company.
So is that coming out of insider knowledge? Is this something, do you know? Or this is speculation?
Some podcast called Insider to have insider knowledge. It's a guess. It is a pure speculative guess from attitudes around Germany and other places.
And it kind of makes sense on a lot of levels to essentially reorg, take their, get rid of some of the debt that they have, and then have a company that they end up spinning off to take some to do more games, but to do them differently. But I think this is going into the speculative area, which we can do. But we have to tell people all we know is they are reorging, they'll be in business, but games are not part of, apparently, due to their release here, the business model going forward. So we don't have a lot of news here, but one of the things that has, been in the news, obviously, in this industry is that Ravensburger, which just recently did a big unveil of Disney Lorcana,
which sold out instantly.
It sold, well, they sold out in Gen Con, in Indy, and they sold out their first print run of the cards, which they said they will reprint. They've
Right.
now unveiled their second chapter. I'm not sure what they call it, the second set at least, in this, called Disney Lorcana Rise of the Floodborn, the second set of this TCG, as well as the Disney Lorcana Disney 100 Edition, a premium collection. The next Disney Lorcana set explores the origins of Floodborn, Disney characters who were transformed by the flood of magic ink. This magical ink has damaged the great Illuminary, causing general chaos and shuffling up characters' stories. Belle as a hunter, Who as a honey wizard, the queen as a supreme ruler, etc. The set features over 200 new cards with brand new artwork. Characters such as Winnie the Pooh and Tiana make an appearance for the first time in game, as well as cards featuring Disney movies like Jungle Book, Snow White, and Seven Dwarfs, The Great Mouse Detective, Pinocchio, Zootopia, and Raya and the Last Dragon. So, Corey, I assume that none of the kind of Disney ink and shuffling up is part of any Disney stuff we've ever seen. This is kind of new stuff for the game.
It's actually really interesting because I'm especially intrigued by the Winnie the Pooh stuff. There actually is an official stance by Disney that Winnie the Pooh and the characters in the 100-Acre Wood do not exist anywhere outside the 100-Acre Wood. They exist in Christopher Robin's imagination, in their own special world. They do not leave. So I'm really curious what this set does to that rule that they've had for ages and ages. Even when the Winnie the Pooh characters were in the Kingdom Hearts video games, the characters did not leave the 100-Acre Woods. Everyone else came into it. So I'm curious what this means, especially for Winnie the Pooh.
I guess what they're doing, again, speculation, it sounds like they'll take Winnie the Pooh, but changed, right? And bring him into this. It's not like, okay, here's Winnie. No, he exists there, but now it's the wizard, Winnie, Honey Wizard, or something like that, who is based on Winnie the Pooh. That's what it sounds like their thought process is. But I guess more on this. And again, I had made a prediction that we're going to see Disney Lorcana for a very long time. It's not like a one and done or a three and done. I think this is going to have legs to a degree that we haven't seen in truly a CCG, TCG in a long time. My speculation.
Could be.
The next item is Tigris and Euphrates. Now Tigris and
I can
go ahead. You give me your stuff.
So I put this one in here because we had a story a little while back about Tigris and Euphrates. We reported back in July that Reiner Knizia had said that there was a new edition of Tigris and Euphrates. And of course, Tigris and Euphrates is the most popular Reiner Knizia board game. It's a heavier game, area control, really interesting mechanisms. And it was at that coveted #1 spot of Board Game Geek's top games of all time for quite a long time. But anyway,
way back in the day.
Oh yeah. Reiner Knizia had said that there was a new edition from a new publisher, and it was going to arrive at Essen. So now we have follow-up news that there still is a new edition. We still have no idea who the new publisher is. And apparently there was some juggling. There was a publisher who no longer is the publisher. So now someone has it, but it's been officially stated it's not coming to Essen. It just didn't have enough time to make it to Essen.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Certainly the previous game had nice components, big wooden chunky components. It is without a doubt an abstract game that a theme is lightly pasted onto it, as many Reiner games are. But it is, as you said, some people will call it his greatest game. Well,
by the numbers, it's definitely his #1.
Is that his number
right now,
one?
It's ranked number 104. Right now.
Sure, but does it have the most I don't know, what do you call it? Owned? Is it the highest ranked game of his? You say it's the highest ranked game. Is it the most owned game? I don't.
On BGG's official list of best board games ever, when you look at all those, and Gloomhaven is battling for #1 with Brass. So
Right.
it's at 104, and it's the highest one by writer.
Okay. So the geeks say it's his best game. It's very abstract, and it's very, very, very thinky. I like, as most people know, I like games with more theme, and so I my favorite of his games by far is Amun-Re, which I used in a certain The Quad episode fairly recently.
Yeah, but you were wrong.
But I was right about that. That is his, not only his best game, but it is. Well, I won't say.
Amun-Re is ranked 470.
Doesn't matter what it's ranked. I am right that it is the best in the category. The best in the
Euphrates is 104.
The best in the category that we.
72.
Oh, you're just like to talk. Fine. Okay. But anyway, I look forward to seeing Tigers and Euphrates back in a new edition, because it deserves. It deserves that, and it will probably give it a little bit of oomph and buzz, and it will continue.
Should also say that there are variations on Tigers and Euphrates that are out and available. Yellow and Yangtze is the same game as Tigers and Euphrates, except instead of a square grid, it uses a hex grid.
Interesting.
And Yellow and Yangtze was reprinted by Phalanx Games into a game called Huang.
That is interesting. And those I did not know. Thank you for bringing that up.
That's why you have me here. I'm the color commentary.
I have you here because Ignacy can't make it all the time. Let's put that straight. Let's put that straight, intern. Anyway,
I'm your
light news week. Let's get over to strategy and tactics. So by now, the winners have been reached out to in the contest. So you get back to us, we get you some stuff. It's going to be all good. Chris Dupree, who's at CDC Dupree, he asks us, thanks everyone for the great show. Not sure if this question has been asked. What percentage is your shelf of shame? Like only 10% of my games on my shelf have not been played? Corey.
I want to hear your answer. I've been to your house, and a good majority of those games.
No, it's not majority. It is absolutely not majority. And there are certainly games that I've opened and not played, so there'll be that as well. So and that's hard to calculate in. I think I'd have to say that the number is 30%. It's pretty high.
I think I'm closer to 10%. I do track my plays, and the tracking app, Board Game Stats, by the way, it's the greatest tracking app. It tells me how many different games I've played. It says what games it knows I own that I've not played. So I can say pretty accurately, it's about 10%.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. So, like, is a game on my shelf of shame if I haven't played mine, but I played somebody else's? That's kind of a weird thing. No, it's not. Okay, so that would probably bring mine down or something like right. So, right. Yes, I have a fairly large shelf of shame. We're just going to say that. I don't know what everybody else is like. Maybe we should ask that question. That's a pretty good one for playtesting, but we'll see what we come up with when we get there. It's your turn on this one. Anyway. He also asks, and his next question, he also asks, from a publisher and developer point of view, and both of us, publisher and developer, and you've developed games, what methods do you use to track development of your board games from design, testing, to shipping? Is it all in your head? Use paper, use spreadsheet, specific software package, hire a project manager to do it for you, to give you pretty graphs and charts? No, that's certainly not pretty graphs and charts. So I think, I'm not sure if he's asking this kind of like, so he's really going through the whole cycle. This is like, well, what does a publisher do from getting a design in or starting a design till it's shipped? And we use tools like spreadsheets, essentially. Sure. I'm certain that some people are using, MS Project, great tool. But and I've used that extensively in my other, IT career. But for this, it's we put it into a spreadsheet. It's standard to start with, and then a standard sheet, and then you'll modify it per project. Like, oh, this needs this, so you add a task in. Yeah, things like that.
And I do think everybody tracks it differently. But I do want to throw out there, friend of yours and mine, Christian Peterson, who was the original founder of Fantasy Flight Games.
Of course.
He actually, in his downtime, and by the way, the man just forms company after company after company. He formed a software company called Awbase, AWE Base, and they make software just for this. It's software for board game publishers to track artists and development and testing and purchases and inventory, and basically to smooth out board game publishing.
Yeah, it's actually, I had a demo of that directly from Chris. I may or may not have talked about that on the show, but it is actually an amazing piece of software.
Yeah.
A company would have to be fairly big to use it, because while it's free to use in its base, then it costs a per seat license fee. This is the kind of stuff that you have with many pieces of software, especially ones that are used in an enterprise. And it's real fun. While yes, you can track the progression of a game sort of in a task-based manner, what it's really good for is a company that uses dozens of artists and dozens of consultants on various levels. And you can track them in really good granular methods. For instance, you have an artist who has a specialty in fantasy in the style of so-and-so, and his or her rate is X, and they're available during the summer, but not during the winter. You can do all of this. So when you're about to do a game, you go into your database, the Awbase database, and you kind of put that in and say, look, Jane Doe is available for us to use, has the perfect style, and her rate is really what we need right now. Boom, and you contact her, and it'll send out emails saying, hey, we got this proposal for you. We need X number of pieces of art, or maybe you can manage the whole thing for us from an art director perspective. It'll do all of these kinds of things. So it's very sophisticated and very good. I don't think it got, to my knowledge, a lot of groundswell, because I don't, even a company as big, you can say, as Indie Game Studios, doesn't need that. They have their own internal art director who manages stuff on the, let's just say, 24 artists that Bill, the art director, will reach out to, and he'll keep his own notes. This one's for pretty extensive projects and companies. Ron Graves, who's from Canada, he's at Buckaroo. If you were offered a free residence, I love these they're hypotheticals. If you were offered a free residence without conditions or any ongoing cost to you, and it could be anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Wow.
One limitation is that it cannot be where you currently live. Come on, Ron. I love South Florida.
I have an answer. I
don't.
I
Go
would
ahead.
live in Reykjavik.
Really?
I just spent time in Iceland, and I have to say, it was the friendliest, most beautiful, most amazing place I've ever been. I'm seriously considering going every year, or even getting property there and spending a significant amount of time there. It is such an amazing country. I absolutely loved it. I miss it already.
Oh, that is, and you literally form that opinion in the last week, right? You didn't know like how nice it was. You'd heard about it. I've heard great things about Iceland as well.
Yeah, I was in Iceland like 3 days ago.
I have a friend of mine in the Faroe Islands. It would be kind of good for me to.
That would be cool.
He loves it there. He's an American expat living in the Faroes. So for me, I mean, literally, Ron and Corey and everybody, this is very hard because what?
Don't say, you're not allowed to say Florida.
I'm not allowed to say South Florida. I'm going to go. I'm a gamer. I play by the rules, Corey. I play by the. So where would it be if it wasn't here? So basically, this is the best place for me in the United States. So now I have to think outside the box. Where would I go? I'm gonna have to probably say England, someplace in the UK. Their weather sucks. Oh no, I can't. Sorry, I can't. Your weather.
Take the cold.
I can't take the cloudy dreariness of the UK, but I mean, I love the country, and they sort of speak a language that I recognize. It's not really English, I know, but it's something like it. Um, I I'm gonna hedge and say at the moment, without true knowledge, it could be Australia, could be New Zealand. I heard amazing things. I mean, maybe after going to both all, and I've never been to any of these countries yet. And could it be Italy? You know, getting a villa in Italy and living there with wonderful wines. Ron, it's a very hard question. In about 10 years after I've traveled all to those places, I'll get back to you and let you know. Ron then asks, rank these in order of preference for a night out of music. Man, we're going outside the box here on the personal questions here. Like, so it's a bunch of things here. It's like go to a full symphony orchestra, string quartet, jazz club, blues, arena rock concert for a popular band, small venue, lesser known band, karaoke bar, country music, electronic house, progressive rock, metal, or something not on the list. Corey, what's your favorite kind of in this genre of for a night out listening to music?
That is really tough. I don't
Go.
really go out for music.
I'll go. And
I have to say, like an old classic rock band at a small club would probably be my favorite.
Well, that's not there. Or you can add it there if you'd like. It
says or something not on the list.
Right. Well, sure. Like I'd like to see the Rolling Stones or Billy Joel in a 30-seat place. Sure, but that's not happening in my life. Not happening. So I'm going to go with these.
I had dinner with one of the members of Foghat a week ago. But you go on.
Very cool. So mine is certainly going to be an arena rock concert. I do that occasionally. I especially did a bunch of those over the last several years, where I saw Elton John several times on his final tour. He's not going to be doing any more tours. I've seen Billy Joel recently. I saw The Who. No, I saw somebody else. I've seen a bunch of big arena rock concerts recently, and so that's like number one. After that, it's hard. I'm not really into country, though. In a small place, I'd sit and listen, like in Nashville, perfect place to sit and listen. And I love Nashville. So I guess that'd be kind of up there. Going to see a full symphony orchestra. Yeah. You know what? I did that once and it was wonderful. I'll put that up there.
I'm going to put jazz and blues as 2 and 3 for me.
Going to karaoke, man. I got to have some liquid courage and go do it. So while none of these are something I go to often, I would do anything on a lark to go with a group of people and go do it. And I like to do these things when I'm at an area where these things kind of happen a lot. So when I'm in Nashville, I can almost do any of these things, almost not quite, but almost go to a live place that has all of these things. And that's kind of cool when you're like in a place that just specializes in music. So my answer is very vague. When I'm in Nashville, I could be seen anywhere here, except at the rock concert, which I'll do when I'm local. There you go. Oh, and he says, your favorite musical experience. Corey, what number one music experience of all time?
I went and saw Procol Harum.
Wow.
In a bar with like 20 other people.
And it was a small place. This is like obviously
a small place. There's a really famous bar in New Haven, Connecticut, called Toad's Place. And it's mostly famous because the Rolling Stones start and end their tour there every time and don't tell anybody. And it's a tiny little bar, but it was intimate and the music was great and you could talk to the people and it was really amazing.
Mine is going to be one of the 30, not quite maybe 30, but 25 maybe Elton John concerts I went to. He never disappoints me. I'm the hugest fan, and I remember seeing him in 1976 at Madison Square Garden. I was a very young person, maybe 76. I was 15 years old, and I was there actually kind of with the chaperone, not exactly, but We had a father of one of the people was kind of an usher at Madison Square, so he checked up on us all the time. And it
We
was
all know you
amazing.
want to be David Furnish.
You behave. For those who don't know, David is Elton's husband. So, and I know somebody who met David Furnish. A good friend of mine is Elton Dan. He does an Elton John,
Oh, nice.
impersonation Elton John cover band, and he met David Furnish, and they took pictures together and everything like that. So, and
That's awesome.
I've met people I met people that are in the Elton John band. I met um, the percussionist. I've been at a play. I've been in a bar with Davy Johnson. I didn't want to bother him. This is the guitar player or something. Anyway, that would be my thing. We can do maybe which one? Okay, we have another one by Ron, and he says, outside your parents, siblings, spouse, partner, which person within your extended family has the most influence on you and who you are as a person? Wow. Deep
Deep questions
personal
here.
questions. Besides
Wow.
the family, extended family, most influenced on you as a person? I gotta say, I don't know. I don't know if I should even bring that up. It's not exactly right. Corey Thompson has the most influence on me as a person. No,
No,
no, you do not. You certainly do
that
not.
can't be true. You fight everything I
I mean,
say.
look, I'm not a religious person now. I was when I was younger.
Mm,
Um, And I always say that my family upbringing, which included some amount of religion, and going to church when I was younger, and going to parochial school, a Catholic school, for 12 years, always had a huge influence on the person that I became. Even though I I'm agnostic now. That is what it is. I don't believe, but all of that certainly had a huge influence on the person that I became. So my parents are in there, um, but all other things are in there as well. So that would be what
mm.
I would say right now. Corey, anything you want to add
Well,
to that?
yeah, when I was growing up, I was an only child, and all I wanted were brothers and sisters and like kids to play with. And down the street, there was an older kid. He was probably like 5 years older than me. And he let me be his little brother. He always welcomed me, always invited me in. And I got to do all sorts of really cool things with him and his friends. So uh, Richard Payne was
Oh,
really the most influence on me until, adulthood, well into adulthood.
yeah. Until you met me and I have influenced you.
Until I met Stephen and he told me what not to do.
And who not to trust in this industry and who to stay
That's
away
it.
from.
That's it. Plus, he's my financial advisor.
Specifically not your financial advisor. Anyway, with that, I just love these conversations. Thank you, Ron, for those insane questions, but they're
That
fun.
was
It's
cool.
fun to open up. I mean, I always say that I'm an open book, and you basically can ask me anything, and I will tell you. I will give you an honest answer. And I always have, and I hope people understand that we try to be as honest as we possibly be here. And there you go, some opening up. And now we get over to play testing. So last week it was my question, Corey, and I asked everybody, and you can go start looking at those answers right now. I asked everybody whether you go to 10 game conventions and events on gaming per year, or you've never gone to one in your life, which one game convention or event, which you have not yet attended, would you like to attend in the future? That is, what is your bucket list game convention or event? And what has stopped you from going yet? Is it time, money, fear? You don't want to see Bonacor or Corey? I mean, what is it that has stopped you from doing that? And there's a lot of
Nobody would want this.
yes.
This is bad.
We got a lot of because this is kind of an easy one, right? Everyone's got something, right,
Yeah.
that they want to do that they haven't done yet. So did you anything you picked up on in our
I
like
just
30
I,
answers,
I
40?
like reading that everyone in Europe really wishes they could go to Gen Con and everybody in America really wishes they could go to Essen. and they all say that it's money and the fear of buying every game in existence that stops them.
So is
I
that
just love those answers.
so is that the one that is the theme either Essen if you're an American or Gen Con if you're European? Is that what
That
you
seems to be
found?
the overriding theme, with a close third of Gathering of Friends. So there's quite a few mentions of the Gathering.
Gathering is an invitation convention, so you have to find somebody and you have to know them and they have to know you and your style and your personality. So any
It
given
really is
list,
kind of an industry thing too.
it has become that, though it's not technically that, and there are plenty of people not in the industry. But any given person that's listening here who really wants to go, you have to know either me, like somebody that goes, me and Corey. You have to know the person and know them well before they can say, okay, I would like to nominate. So apologies to people out there that I don't really have a very good connection with. We can't just invite just anybody.
So can I read my one of my favorites here?
Yeah, I want you to.
So Eric Lagnebeck, who's been
Yep.
answering questions for us for a long time, friend of the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
says, Spiel. My wife and I will go some year. It's just really far by car, so not that long of flying. And then my favorite part, besides cost, it's also just at a bad time of the year. Fall is moose hunting season.
That is
So the biggest reason for not going to Spiel, everybody, is it's moose hunting season.
so I've got a couple of great ones here, and I'm going to start with Tim Hackaberry from the US. He says, I've never been to a con ever, but I'm going to the World Series of Board Gaming later this month. So Tim,
wow.
you may hear this before you get there if you stay current, because this will drop before any of us actually get there. This will drop on the 20th of September. So Tim, make sure as a listener you come see me and say hello, and I'll buy you a beer, as I've told anybody who's there, and we get a chance to do so. I can't rush out at any given moment, but in the evenings, if I have a chance, we'll do that. Mason P said, for me, it would have to be Tokyo Game Market. I love Japanese trick takers and find myself importing several of them a year. And I know, Corey, you imported the non-trick taking ladder climbing game Scout, and maybe
my favorite trick taking game.
And maybe were at least possible for that game going as viral as it had. I mean, you certainly, I certainly will give you credit for making that game even more popular than it would have gotten. Of course, being nominated for Spiel des Jahres, definitely helped. But yes,
it won it all on its own.
Absolutely.
It's such an amazing game. But I'm with you. I hadn't thought about that. The Tokyo Game Market would be an amazing trip, and I also import a bunch of games from Tokyo.
I like this answer too from Peter Haraldson. He says, being from Sweden, I have a dream of a convention tour going to the UKGE, then HeavyCon. That's a convention that's a US con, right? That's run by Heavy Cardboard, I think. Then Origins.
Yeah, Elena, right?
And then Origins, Dice Tower Con, Gen Con during one season. So one flight there and come back home with UK on the way over. Okay, going to UK and then going through that. I don't know if they're Origins and then Dice. Yeah, I mean, you spend the summer essentially in the US, you'd spend from June to August, June, July, August in the US, and that's a possibility. Peter, do it, because I go to almost all of those, not Heavy Con, but I go to the other ones. So that's pretty good. I think we got some really good answers that not only did, of course, Americans, putting them in Essen and putting Europeans at Gen Con, but we got a bunch of other ones that really gave us some very good answers. Corey, do you have a question? Do you have a question?
I don't have a question.
Oh my God.
I'm in Vienna. I don't even know what day it is.
So let's use that. Let's use the one that I mentioned from that we mentioned.
That was great.
Which is the one that we mentioned above? The Shelf of Shame. That's the one. I just removed something I wrote there in the wrong place. So let's go with this to you. What percentage of your game collection is sitting on your shelf of shame? Meaning you have never played the game, either your copy, sorry guys that I'm saying it this way, or anyone else's copy. I think that's a fair one.
It could be your shelf of opportunity.
I think that's a new shelf of opportunity is a new one. If you'd like to do that one. So we've answered this already. So I'm just going to go directly to ask people, what percentage of your game collection is sitting on your shelf of shame, meaning you've never played the game, either your copy or anyone else's copy? And I will now create a thread, because Corey is incapable, on Board Game Geek for you to answer this question to us.
I do not know how to use these computer machines.
Yes, you are incapable. I got to start making you do this for me. But in the meantime, let's get to final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or you can watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather Gaming YouTube channel. If you want to be part of this podcast, you can ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, or answer our question to you from our playtesting segment by going to the guild on Board Game Geek and looking for the thread with the right question in it. Check out our websites, which are portalgamesus.com, podfathergaming.com, dicetowerdish.com. We are all over social media, so interact with us. Please, on Facebook, please like our pages, which are /BoardGamesInsider, /PortalGamesUS, and /PodfatherGaming. You can speak directly to Ignacy, Corey, and Steven on Twitter and Instagram. It's at PortalGamesUS, at PodfatherGaming, at DicetowerDish, at DicetowerNow, and on YouTube, Portal Games Movies, The Podfather of Gaming, and Above Board TV. TikTok for Ignacy is Portal Games US. Come see us at a convention coming up, which is going to be the World Series of Board Gaming, or Essen. After that, BGG Con. After that, it'll be PAX Unplugged, which will round out the year. I don't think there's any other ones, Corey, that you're going to. If there are, mention them. Nope.
Not until Gathering. But I will be at BGG and PAX Unplugged.
That's awesome. And we have to work out with Ignacy for a meetup in Essen. So I'm putting that on my list to take that Essen meetup and recording. Board Games Insider.
My time is very valuable, so you need to schedule this with me soon.
Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Joshua Bowman from Tabletop Submarine Podcast. If you want your podcast edited by Joshua, you can reach out to him at tabletopsubmarine@gmail.com. And that great voice you hear doing the intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Corey, do you have anything else that you want to, something special about your upcoming trips? I have something that I want to mention, but I'd rather mention it later because it's coming up in a bit. Anything you want to bring up for us, for our listeners?
No, just I am having such an amazing time with all of the wonderful people that I'm seeing everywhere I'm traveling. Iceland was incredible. Shout out to the Reykjavik Game Convention. And keep an eye out on Above Board TV. We've got videos with sharks and videos with glaciers and videos with volcanoes and all that good stuff.
If you're not watching the quad, or if you're not watching Above Board TV, you're missing out on some really fun stuff. So everybody, until next time, bye-bye.
See you later, everyone.